Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Follow Your Path channel. It's good to be here with you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for choosing to bring your attention and awareness to this place. And it is my promise and intention that you will receive some kind of value from this content that I'm sharing. This is all in support of you following your path because we are in a point right now where it's beautiful. It's exciting. It's also can be terrifying. And we've got all the stuff coming up for us to release and to clear so we can be who the fuck we are. Okay. Your path is unfolding now. And each day you get to choose to continue to unfold it more. Each day you get to choose to interact with your reality in a whole new way from a place of conscious creation. So today's episode is going to be one that I'm very psyched to dive in with you on because it will be relevant to you. You will relate to it. You will receive something from this that I promise will assist your journey. We're going to talk about addictions. We're going to talk about avoidant and escapist behaviors, which have been unconscious, which we know very well. And then we're going to look at them from a new lens and we're going to see what's on the other side of them. We're going to move from a place together where, yes, we're very clear on what we don't want. Most of us are. But then, even more important, you become clear on what it is that you do want. More importantly, what it is that you would you would prefer to create. So that's what we're going to dive into. And then we're going to see where it goes because I love to open up my channel on this channel and see what comes through. Because when I don't have a script and I don't have something that I'm reading, word for word off like a teleprompter, I'm severely limiting myself when that happens. But when I come on here with the intention of bringing all of you as much value as I possibly can and sharing from the deepest, most authentic place of my heart, a lot more magic in that, a lot more potency in that experience as opposed to doing something a lot more controlled. And I'll tell you this, if you're watching, you're talking to someone, you're looking at someone who historically was very analytical, very in his head, very wanting to be in control, right? Through knowing what I'm going to say, knowing what's going to be spoken about, and saying what other people want to hear. But when you let yourself dive into the unknown and you come from your heart and you start to trust that, by the way, big caveat to that, you trust it. You're not just like letting yourself go all over the place. Like you actually have intention and you're trusting what's coming out of your heart. That's a whole other thing. But most of my life, I lived in this very analytical place and it was always filtered with what are other people going to think about this? Now I operate from a place of what is it that's really desiring to be shared right now? What's in the deeper place of me that wants to be shared? That's why I do this. So here we go. I'm going to read you, and these are addictions. These are patterns of behavior that I have struggled with over a long period of time. It's gotten a lot better now, but I'm going to read these to you and see if you can relate to them and see if you can look at your own journey and how these things have affected you. And then we're going to go to the other side of that. So this is a really important episode. And so you're going to want to stick to the end of this because there's going to be a lot of beauty here. All right. So addictions that I've had. Number one, avoiding responsibilities and what's important. We also might call this procrastination. I talked about this a little bit on the last video, how that creates just a lot of inner conflict and resentment with yourself because your word's not meaning anything anymore to you, which is the person that it needs to mean the most to. And then if you try to give your word to other people, you're going to constantly let them down because you're not even giving it to yourself. So procrastination, when you can see it from that lens, it's really toxic and destructive. And yet at the same time, because now we're learning that things are very multidimensional, everything's a coin, got two sides. The light side of procrastination, as we probably know, is that it's a safety mechanism. It's an aspect of us that is trying to keep us safe from doing something that is going to maybe create some kind of uh, potential pain or an undesired outcome or something that we may not want. It's the unknown, and the procrastination's like, no, don't do that. It's safer in the known, even if it sucks in the known. Avoiding responsibilities, avoiding what's important. This could also mean you're avoiding really looking at your life, really like hitting pause for a day and saying, like, where is this going? As if you were in a relationship with someone for 6 months and you're kind of hitting a point where it's like, all right, where are we going with this? Like, what are we choosing here? And many of us are terrified to do this in our own journey and ask the real questions, get really honest with ourselves. Where would I like to go from here? Okay, what's been playing out? How have things been going for me? Is this what I want to keep choosing or not? It's a very important piece of our life that gets neglected, that we put off for as long as possible, and usually until something painful happens, right? So, okay, that's one. And that's something that has had plagued me for a long time. Number two, and this one's getting purged from the planet right now, survivalism. So what I mean by that is you've gotten used to, you have the bar really low. Like, you're just getting by, you have just enough. You're doing the bare minimum, and it's safe, it's convenient, it's comfortable. You've learned to rest there. Like, that's your baseline, right? It's like, it's not even mediocrity. It's like below that. And that is such a dwelling place of the ego. When we're wrapped up in the egoic identity mind and disconnected from the soul, this is where we hang out. And again, this is something that has been in our lineage, in the code of our DNA. It's all part of the evolutionary process. It's just that we're born now in a time where this doesn't work anymore. And this is what we need to release. Okay. So number three is low level dopamine distraction, consuming uselessly. I got into this in the last video, but I just want to name this because obviously with social media and, shorts and TikToks and all these little bite-sized things, like, you can just find yourself scrolling till the cows come home, to the point where your eyes are about to just fall out of your head and you lose so much time. It's like you go into a vortex and you pop out and you're like, wow, this is a big one for a lot of people right now. And this is one that I have historically had a hard time with. So let's keep going. Next one, abandoning myself, creating mistrust. And again, this goes back to, I don't really trust myself that I'm going to follow through with what I say that I'm going to do, because I haven't done that. I've made declarations, I've made promises to myself that I have not followed through with, and therefore it doesn't carry weight. And that just means you've been living out of integrity with yourself. The next one is laziness. This kind of goes into some of the survivalism stuff. You get into a comfort zone. You're not really stretching yourself. You're not really finding out what you're made of. You're not leaning into your edges. And when we're not doing this, the human spirit kind of atrophies. It starts to die off. And if you find yourself in a pattern of this, it's really important to snap yourself out of it, because this one is very seductive and a lot of people are trapped here. We're going to continue, and we're going to come back to all of this stuff. I'm just listing them out and seeing if you can relate to these. So the other one, and this has been a major theme, overwhelm, being scattered, disorganized. Your mind's kind of all over the place. You're in this constant state of feeling overwhelmed by life. Like, there's so many things going on. How can I possibly put it all together? You're in the mind. You're not grounded. You're up in your head, caught in the complexity, and overwhelm is your everyday neighbor knocking on the door saying, hey, it's me again. So here we go. Last one. This is also a big one. I'm going to use the word lust. So this would be your sexual energy, your life force is being pulled in places that you don't want it to go. It's like, and that could be on the internet, that could be in real life. You know, maybe you're on dating apps and you're just like doing the dopamine thing on there and leaking your sexual energy on there. But your sexual energy is your life force. This is something we were never really, not really ever were taught. Like that's our creative energy, and where we put that is very important. That's why like it connects us so much also to our animal nature, and that's why marketing and advertising plays into our inner animal that experiences sex through the lens of the first chakra, which is like I'm fucking to reproduce for pleasure. And it's from a place of like, it's not used as a tool for creativity or to experience oneness with someone or intimacy with someone, and using it in a way that elevates your consciousness instead of keeping you locked into that base chakra, which is fuck, kill, survive, and reproduce, right? So also I bring up this one because to me this ties into immediate gratification. I'm going to do a whole video on that because this one is sinister in today's world. Immediate gratification. Wow, it's like when you're in that I want it all right now place, you are compulsively and chronically on a micro level creating an experience every day of the same thing. We've lost sense of true creation. And what I mean by that is the planting of the seed. That seed needs nurturing, it needs water, it needs sunlight and care to grow and bear the fruits that you're looking for. And that is a process. And if you can't be patient with that and understand how that works, and you're in that immediate gratification, I need it right now, that's going to cause a lot of suffering, very unnecessary suffering. And this is with our shortened attention spans where we're being led to. And it's creating a lot of learning disabilities. It's creating a lot of focal issues. And, you know, remember, our focus is our superpower. So if that gets divided and fractured, then we're at a serious disadvantage and we are not able to be the creators that we can be in the present moment where our focus is all on one specific thing. Like I'm making this video right now and I'm not focused on anything else. Like this is where I'm at. This is what I'm choosing to do. And if I have a million other things going on in my head that I bring into this, then I can't deliver in the way that I desire to. So this is a big deal. Now, I mentioned all of these addictions that I've historically struggled with that have been themes in my life that have shown up and have made it more challenging to be my natural self, to be the creator that I know I am. These are things that have gotten in the way. One thing I've noticed with my clients and even for myself is we're so clear on what these things are. We could rattle them off to anyone who was to ask us what we don't want. And then I will always say to the person, well, what do you want? Right? Like what's on the other side of all of those addictions and behaviors you say you don't want? What is the version of you who no longer does those things now doing in the place of them? Right? So this goes back to the coin analogy. Every coin has two sides. What is on the other side of, let's say, avoiding responsibility? Who's the version of you that takes full responsibility and does the things that are important to them? That is where we're moving our energy to. It's conscious creation. It's getting so clear and crystallizing that version of yourself, how that looks, what you're doing, how that feels in your body, how good it feels to keep your word to yourself and to lean into what's important and to not do the avoidance dance anymore. How would that feel in your body? You're more relaxed, you're reliable on yourself. You're tackling the things that need to be tackled. And that's just you. That's who you have now chosen to be. And the more that you can flow your life force energy to that, when you go back into the old pattern, let's say, of procrastination or avoiding what's important, you'll have the experience of that's not me anymore. That's not what I do. That's not what I do. And there'll be less and less resistance, and you'll be able to make the shift and go to the other side because you've created this, you've chosen this, you've selected this over and over and over again every day. You've put your attention and intention towards that. And in the same way, let's look at survivalism, right? Just getting by, you're motivated by fear and stress over actually choosing what you want. The other side of that to me is my focus is on thriving. My focus is on what I'm choosing to do throughout the day is now coming from a place of, again, choice rather than motivated by fear and I have to do this. Oh, my bills are coming. I have to do this. It's like that have to energy, right? That pull in your nervous system of like, if I don't do this thing, I'm going to die, right? Who are you beyond that? What does thriving you look like that is relaxed and just simply says, here's what I choose to do? And in the face of that survival energy that comes up in your body, that tugs on your nervous system, you respond to that differently. And you show that old part of you that was terrified and ran by fear. You're here now. The soul is here. I got this. I'm taking the wheel. And this is the direction that we're going in. And starting to crystallize what thriving you does in their day to day, how they show up, the way that they speak and communicate, not only to others, but to themselves, what the internal dialogue looks like. I've gotten very good with this, and I will proudly say it. And I say it from a place of, I would love for anyone watching this to make that a priority where your inner dialogue is just very supportive and very loving and very much on your team and on your side. That's a whole other experience of life. And I can tell you from being in the complete opposite place of that most of the time, where I was horrible to myself and I said horrible things and constantly, and I would always point out the things that were going wrong and what was wrong with me. I can tell you that it is very available to start being your best friend and encourager and supporter. Not only is it available, it's evolution. It's evolution. And that voice that was inside of you that was super harsh, criticizing everything, pointing out all of the bad stuff. Guess what? Your dad or your mom had that, your grandparents had it, they thought it was them. And now we're able to differentiate between the two. The wounded ego and the soul who was like, I love you. Let me give you the truth. None of that was ever actually what you thought it was. You're safe. I gotcha. That is such a beautiful transition to make. And that's part of thriving and coming out of survivalism, where that part of you soothes the human that's freaking the fuck out. That's got that in the intensity of survivalism in your nervous system. And when that part starts to feel safe, you will not get pulled down into that barely at all anymore. It just won't even touch you. And you'll just be so focused on thriving you. And it will feel so good and it will create a momentum. You just keep going that way. Right. So again, we're naming these things. We're going to the other side of the coin, which is conscious creation of like, oh, I was pretending like I don't know what I want, but really what I did want was on the other side of everything that I did not want. It was the opposite expression of that. So let's go to the low level dopamine distractive behavior stuff. That low level dopamine that gives you the quick hit, the quick fix, like a drug, obviously is a product of our modern society. The other side of that for me is deep presence. We all talk about how we desire deeper levels of presence, of flow in our day-to-day life. And then I would ask my clients, okay, so how are you cultivating that? How are you saying yes to that? How are you communicating to the field that that's important to you? What are you doing about that? And most people are like, I don't know. I'm just saying that I would like that, but then I'm practicing and therefore choosing and prioritizing and tolerating the cheap dopamine, the low level dopamine hits throughout the day. And I'm not prioritizing focus. I'm not prioritizing deep presence. So me on the other side of that is like, okay, every day I'm creating space, and that's where I'll bring in meditation. That's where I'll go for a walk with no technology, and I will just have the intention of being so in my body and hearing the sounds, feeling the air coming through my nose, inflating my chest, feeling my feet on the ground. And it's like, that's my intention for that whole walk. Okay, today me on the other side of that coin is when I have conversations with people, I'm deeply listening in a way that I never have before. I'm giving them all of my presence, and I'm not scrolling through my phone. I'm resisting that urge, maybe that comes up to do that. And I'm letting myself come back to a baseline where I'm not so easily bored, because that to me stems from a place of your brain being in that place where it's craving the low level dopamine because you've been practicing that. So that's the other side of that. The other one, abandoning yourself, creating or having mistrust in you, not following through on what you say. I would say 98% of us are doing that. So this will be a good one. What's the other side of that? What can you consciously create that is in opposition to that old addictive pattern? What does it feel like when you start showing up for you? Now you'll see as we've gone, like these are all are connected in some kind of way, right? So what will it feel like when you start to come home to yourself? What will it feel like when you the safety? I talked about this in the other video, but wow, when you start to know, when your human little you ego knows that the soul is going to come in and be there when the shame is kicking off, when the guilt, when the fear is going on, when that part of you knows, the small self knows that the soul is right there to bring in the truth, to bring in presence, to bring in a new experience of, hey, I got you. That does not have to touch you anymore. And watch this. We're going to now create something completely new out of that feels amazing, that expands you, that feels fun. When that part of you starts to see consistently that show up, which is the opposite of abandoning, right? Where it's just your scared ego by itself and you think that you are it. The safety that comes in. I'm telling you guys, I'm entering a place now where that part of me feels so good because it knows that shame's not going to be a thing anymore. Uh, Feelings of guilt, I did something wrong, what's wrong with me, that does not have a home, because the second it comes in, I'm right there. And I'm like, that's not what we're doing anymore. That's not it. Never was it. I love you. New direction. That's the game I'm now playing with myself. And I can tell you the inner child it's starting to feel a lot safer to be in the world and to be here. And it's born out of that. So that one's very important. Start showing up for yourself. Become your biggest supporter and best friend, which also makes logical sense because the body, the cells of you, the ego, again, which always come back to, is the wounded child, the wounded aspects of you that are just trying to survive. Really, it all innately desires unification. It desires wholeness. We don't actually want to be suffering all day. We don't want to be in this internal conflict experience constantly with ourselves. That is a distortion. That's something we inherited, something that is being just unraveled. And it is going to take each of us to say yes to this process to really help purge this out of the collective. So if you're watching this, thank you, like general heartfelt thank you for doing this work and not just watching this and not doing anything with it, but actually taking this on and being like, here we go. That's following your path. That's making contribution to the planet, to humanity. And you're my favorite types of people. I got mad respect and love for you. And guess what? We're all doing this together. We're all walking each other home. So let's keep going that way. Let's heal that internal war amongst ourselves so that we won't see war out there anymore. When we can conquer, I don't want to use the word conquer even, when we can bring unity and peace to the war within ourselves, we will see that on the outside when enough of us are doing that. That might be controversial to hear with some of the stuff happening in the world. That's okay. This is my truth. This is what my heart knows, what my soul knows, and this is what I'm sharing. So take with that what you will. Let's keep going. Laziness, comfort zone, not stretching yourself. I would venture to say that if you're watching this, you're someone that is lit up by living life, is lit up by going on adventures, is lit up by discovering new aspects of yourself and seeing what you're capable of. Yet many of us have unknowingly fallen back into this little shell of expression, this comfort zone of convenience. And we know that we're in it, right? So let's go to the other side. Let's create the opposite of that. What does it look like for you to start stretching yourself? Do you know where your edges are? Do you know, maybe it's socially, maybe it's professionally? What's your edge? What makes you uncomfortable? That's where you go. That's what you start saying yes to so that you can show yourself that's not the way we're living anymore. And it's uncomfortable at first, but then you recalibrate and then you land in a new higher floor of awareness where it's like, of course I do that. Yeah, I not only of course I do that, I love to do that. It's no longer I secretly love staying safe and being in the comfort zone. No, it's I love being in the unknown. I love being in the unknown. Creator, universe, source, what do you got for me today? Show me more of who I am. Bring me the challenges that are going to allow for the greatest expression of love and joy for this human experience. Let's go, bring it in. You open up and receive it. That is, to me, the other side of that. And you walk out of your door with an intention of engagement. I'm going to participate and raise my hand in life today. I'm going to participate with what comes my way. And then I'm also going to co-create and I'm going to stay open and I'm going to be an active participant, present and engaged. Many of us at school, we had participation grades. I did not do well with that because I gave a shit what other people think. I got very bad participation grades because of that. And now I look at life and I look at my report cards that I give to myself and I'm like, how's my participation going? Not well. Okay. Well, today I'm going to participate fully. I'm going to participate fully. I'm going to create. I'm going to go out and be an active, engaged contributor to life. That's the other side of that. By the way, you can play with these things, make them your own. How is it that you would like to do that? Explore this. I'm just giving you examples of my own experience that you can apply to yours. And I know this is helpful because we all share this in different ways, right? So my, again, intention is to crystallize what the other side of that will be for you. So it's not, we're not putting any attention any longer on what we don't want. All the attention in life force goes towards what does the version of me on the other side of that look like? And what does he or she do? How does that feel in their body? How are they speaking? What's their body language like? Like, that's getting all the attention and creative energy. No longer feeding the, let's call it a cancer, let's call it a fungal growth. We're starving that out, starving those weeds, sending it over to the fruits that we want to bear, right? Okay. So the last two, overwhelm and immediate gratification. For overwhelm, this is peacefulness, right? So this would, I can tell you that when I practice meditation in the morning, and then I'll do it again for 20 minutes in the afternoon. Overwhelm barely touches me ever. If you complement that with organization, writing your thoughts down, writing your to-do list, so everything's not just jumbled up in your head, it's surprising to me how many people just keep things mentally stocked and they don't ever write it down. It's like, how do you sort all of that out? The answer is you can't. There's just way too much information. And so, like, so many things don't get done and everything feels scattered. It's got to be written down so that your conscious mind can see it and flow energy towards it. If you're swimming around in your mind, there's way too many options, things going on, and you're just going to have more of that. So for me, overwhelm is being organized, meditation, and breathing. If I'm doing those things, overwhelm is not part of my experience. So we got that. Now, immediate gratification. Me on the other side of that as a creator is learning instruments, learning skills and processes that I know are going to take time. Not multitasking anymore, doing one thing at a time, starting to rehone and reclaim the power of my focus because I understand the utility of that. Oh shit, my focus and my attention is what creates my reality. Okay, maybe that's something that I should have a firm grip on. Maybe that's something that I should have a say in, and it's not just pulled all over the place by the outer world. Maybe that's something that I should prioritize, right? So, that looks like an entirely new relationship with technology and having discipline around that and having regimented times that you use that so that you can bring your dopamine levels back to a reasonable baseline, right? We've got to adapt to this information age to find balance. If we don't do the walks in nature and don't disconnect from technology and we're constantly connected to it all day and our screen time is off the charts, we're going to be steeped in immediate gratification. And again, the importance of that is at a micro level, at a very subtle level, you're in this constant place of wanting. I want it now. I want it all. It feeds the ego so much. And the soul, again, understands the process of creation. And it also knows that it's already done. The soul is like, everything's here. The blessings are poured out. I'm in a place of knowing that it's done and it's on the way and it's in the field and it's being crystallized right now. And so there's never an idea or a thought of lack. Lack is tied to immediate gratification. And this plays out in so many ways. I mean, holy shit, in relationships with the sexual energy, if the guy is like, I need to get mine right now, I'm stressed, like, then brings that to the wife or the girlfriend, and then she has to feel that, and it's like it becomes this chore, and you lose the intimacy, you lose the beauty of that in the moment experience to the poison of immediate gratification. Nothing worthwhile comes from that place. Nothing created that is sustainable and worthy comes from that place. It's so toxic. Again, I'm going to make a whole other video on that, but we're, for the purposes of this, who do we look like on the other side of that? Someone who's calm, focused, knows who they are, knows the process, and knows it's already here, knows that there's nothing that's lacking truly. And being able to bring your attention point to that fact, to that knowingness, so that you're not in this riddled place of I want all the time, right? I think this video served its purpose. This is what I really wanted to hit home. The other side of the things that we don't want, and actively participating in the creation process of the other side and flowing your life force, your universal cosmic energy towards that which you desire to create, and crystallizing and getting very clear on what that looks like. Guys, I'm giving you the invitation here. Like, let this land. Let this be your new place. Do not feed the weeds anymore. Do not be so clear on what you don't want. Like that's okay. It's actually, it serves you to be clear on what you don't want, but this is where most people stay and they cannot tell you what they do want. So this is what we want to get way more clear on than this. This is the old conditioned way. This is the ego way. This is I'm a co-creator. I'm a soul, and I'm here to create some epic shit in this short lifetime that I'm in this avatar, this vessel. So I hope that that helped in any way. This is what I do with my clients. We play, we explore, we get so clear on what that is for them that it becomes very real in a short period of time. This is where the energy stays. Yes, we do a little bit of shadow work because that's necessary, but for the most part, we're entering the phase of the creator. What does it look like? What is my life? How will my life be shaped when I am the chooser of my experience? I know that I am the creator of that. That looks a lot different. So this is where we're playing now and starting to land in that upper room, as I've talked about in other videos. So that's what we got for today. If you're feeling the call and you're inspired to like really fucking do this now and not mess around anymore, let's work together. This is why I'm here. This is what I love. I've done this in my own life. I've had other people help me with this. And now the energy that I feel, I just want to share that. I want to spread that. This is how it works, guys. What you discover for yourself, it reveals the way that you're meant to be of service. And this is how I'm meant to be of service. I love to help people follow their path because there's nothing more joyful for me than to see people lit up and living their life from that place. And I love the energy of that in other humans. And we all get to do this. We all get to invite each other into that next level, that next phase of next act of our play. So I hope that this landed in some kind of way in your heart. I hope you received from this, and big love, everyone. Hey, we're in it. We're in this game. It's an exciting time to be alive. There's a lot of wildness going on, but we're in it together. We're here, and we are changing reality. We are changing life as we knew it, and we're reclaiming it. The people of the heart, authentic people of the heart, are taking over this planet. And when I say that, I mean, no longer is it ruled and led by people that are narcissistic and stuck in their ego and wanting to control people and wanting to have all the things for themselves. It's the people who are connected to their heart and soul that are saying, hey, it's all one. Let's all come together and make this place the best possible place for all of us. Everybody gets to win. Life becomes a win-win. Let's stop the bullshit of like taking to make my thing better and someone has to lose. Like that's old, outdated shit. So that just came in there last second. Big love, everyone. I will talk to you real soon.